This Daf Yom Yerushalmi Challah. The article Ozvar edition. We're on Daf Tesam Rav Halacha Gimel. Right, beginning of the Mishnah, Yerushalmi Challah, which in the Vilna is on Daf Hamid Beis. Right, the Mishnah Halacha Gimel Yerushalmi Challah. So says the Mishnah. These are Chaim Mechala, between the Meisers, even though they're part from Meisers. Leket, Shicha, Pei, the Mandosaniyim, of course, which are part from the Meisers. But the Chaim Mechala, because the Chiv Mechala comes when you roll the dough, and by that time they are owned by a person. If I have care, send it with Hefker, or Meiser Rishon, there's no Chumas, or Meiser Sheni, which the Chum has been taken. Meiser Sheni, back to Sheniftu, Umosar Omer. Whatever is left over from the carbon omer, which they didn't use, they harvested and they didn't use for the omer. Hektish harvested it, so it's part of from the matan from Mises, but it's chayv in the challah. Shlish and grain, which is not grown further of its growth, nevertheless, since it can ferment and be considered to be a dough, so therefore it's considered bread. Despite that exposure on Mises before it goes on his Mises when it brings maybe Shlish. As Matvush Levi Shlish, he holds a grain which has not reached its growth, is not doing a Mechala because he holds that the advent of the Chiyuv of Mechala coincides with the advent of the Chiyuv of Chumas Mises, which happens only when it's a third grown. Conversely, these things are Chayim Mises because they don't make real doughs. Orez rice, adochen. Millet, plug-in, poppy seeds, sumshimin, sesame seeds, kidneys, legumes, of less than 5 quarter measures, which is a shear of challah, of grain, actual grain, hasufganin, which are like donuts, which are made with a soft batter, vaduv shanim, this is a dough which is kneaded or fried in honey. Haiskritin, which are very, very soft batter. V'chalas hamishras, a loaf which is made by frying it in a pan. It's all learned out in the Sifri Zuta from lechem. I'm sorry, because it says mi lechem, not all lechem, so it exempts these from challah. By Meduma, and you have a measure of Truma that found less than 100 measures of Chulin, and it all became Meduma, and it's also Zorim. It's part of Minachala. It says Tarimu Truma, and not where Truma is already been taken off. So, when I explain, why not just say Truma? Between Minachala, they're exempt from Chala. Okay, so now it says, come on, Rabbi Yoshi Shal Akana. Rabbi Yoshi Shal Akana, if you remember, said, it's not called Rav Kana usually in the Yerushalmi. How do you know that the Chayiv in Truma and despite the fact about the Mises? So let's see the couple of shatim here. Amar said lo temali tarimu v'chein tarimu. So it kind of says, don't ask if that which it says by Chala kitrumaz permit protest vav chav kitrumaz goren kein tarimu osa. It says like you should do like the Truma Severin. So whatever is part from Truma, she part it from Chala. When it's part from actual Truma, she part it from the Truma Chala. Chazar Amar Me'ar Basre. So rather, we learn out from the fact that when they came to Eretz Yisrael, they were Chayim and Chala immediately, despite the fact that they weren't Chayim and Truma Semaisos in the 7 years which they're conquering, 7 years they're dividing Eretz Yisrael, like the Bible says in many places. And here too, this in your part of Meiser, you're Chayim and Chala. Okay? So we learn basically from the 14 years. So that's the Yerushalmi shot, and that's from the Rashi Melecha Shlema. But the Mashbiach explains that the pasuk should only have said Tarimu. What's V'chein Tarimu? It should have said lo tamely, as if loyal, exact language, blanking out right language right now. Loyal Kosav Loymar plant Tarimu, Ela Tarimu, and yet it says the Chein Tarimu. Right? So what's the Chein Tarimu? So the Chein is a ribui. it's marbe more chiyuv chali more than the chiyuv meisers. So it's not just learning out from 14 kivshu 7 years shechilku 7 years chilku from those 14 years. It's learning out actually from the pasuk the ribu yakra from v'chein talimu nachmer, so to speak. Rabbi Yerushalmi says, this is one of the 3 psukim, the following drasha, which is quite explicit in the Torah. The drasha excludes Lekachich and Peah and Hefker from Meisers. Levi comes since he has no portion and inheritance with you. And that he should get Meiser as a result. So, so in that we say, that which you have a interest in, he has no interest in it. You ought to hefker, excludes hefker, where your hand and his hand are both equivalent in its the connection. And he leked the shichla he hefker. That's they're all in that category that Yodcha v'Yodah Shavim Bo. The other 2 Joshes are in Chumas Perek Beis, Halacha Beis, and Perek Ches Halacha Aleph, and they're also Perek Aleph Halacha Gimel. So we're not going to get into them. This is just they just bring down here the one which is relevant to us. Okay, now Ma'aser Rishon Chumasai. So it's part for Ma'aser and it's Chayiv and Challah. So I'm going to ask a pretty obvious question. He took off the truma. It's Ma'aser Rishon. That means the truma's ready. Truma Gdolah is ready to take it off, and the Ma'aser Rishon itself is taken off, and truma's Ma'aser is taken off from it. So what's it putter from? It's putter from Ma'aser. It's a putter. He already took off the Ma'aser. So the putter you have to say about Shekdima b'Shiboin. When you took off the Ma'aser Rishon before you took off the Ma'aser Rishon and Trumas Ma'aser before Truma Gdolah, already in the stalks. The Amrav Yavav Shem and Lakish Ma'aser Rishon Shekdim B'Shibon. He took off the Ma'aser Rishon by the stalks before he took off from the Truma Gdolah. Partim with Truma Gdolah. It's partim with Truma Gdolah. Yet nevertheless, it's Chayiv and Challah. Amrav Yossi says, Ksiv. It says Kol Chebos Midishomenu V'Lo Chebo V'Chev Chavero. He wants to explain this like a vote for a different passage. It says, "By Jumas Ma'aser Mikol Chabos Mikdashomi Menu." Passage in Midray Ches Chavtes, that the Levim should take Jumas Ma'aser from their Ma'aser. That's their Mikdasho. And not the Chelbo, which he throw his friend has to take off before he gave the Ma'aser, which would be Truma Gdolah. So Mikol Chalbo as Mikdashay Menu take off from the Chumas Ma'aser, which you're mechuyev from your Chalbo, and not the Chalvo Chavero, right? That's V'lo Chalbo V'lo Chav. It's Kol Chalbo as Mikdashay Menu from your Ma'aser Rishon. It's consecrated portion V'lo Chalbo Chav Chavero, but not the Truma Gdolah, which is already over Asmana Bato Karbano. Now next line Rabbi Yossi Ksiva Moshe Chumas Hashem. The Rashi changed it to Rabbi Yoina. Rabbi Yoina Ksiva Moshe Chumas Hashem, because we just said Rabbi Yossi. Chumas Hashem Menaseh Min HaMaaser. Another way of learning this out from the Lamid Yudches Chav Vav, 3 psukim before the other pasuk. For Rabbi Moshe Chumas Hashem Menaseh Min HaMaaser, that in the scenarios where you're supposed to take off Truma Maaser Min HaMaaser, below Truma U'Maaser Min HaMaaser, the Maaser from the Maaser, but not the Truma Gdolah, because it's already over as Manu. What it says that it's part of from Truma Gdolah. It's b'shmireach when he did miruach, and then he took up Trumas Ma'aser from it. Since it had the chiyuv of Trumas Ma'aser, so Truma Gdolah, he took Trumas Ma'aser first, so that extended Truma Gdolah. Wrote something weird on this side. This is my handwriting. Does chalav rak chiyuv echad shel Truma ayidei miruach zeh. Okay, Kimli Rabba Minei. Okay, in other words, a miruach can only be mechayiv you in one truma. Right, and so later on, the ma'aser can be mechayiv another truma, but miruach only mechayiv one truma. So therefore, if you did miruach and then you chapped around and did the trumas ma'aser, the other truma there's no welcome for the truma to be chal. I guess it's a kimli Rabba Minei because it's the greater chiyuv. Not sure why I call it kimli Rabba Minei. Because the ma'aser, it's the shufra, the ma'aser from the ma'aser, not the truma from ma'aser, not truma from chulin. So therefore, it's like b'chlal masai mana, the truma from chulin, which normally chayiv and you managed to avoid because you took off the thing which sequentially should come later, but in and of itself right now is more significant. Yeah. Anyway, I'm even trumas ma'aser v'chakach mircha, but if you took off trumas ma'aser before miruach. So then lo b'da, in that case not potter, because then miruach is mechayiv you truma g'dayla. It wasn't mechayiv you trumas ma'aser that came previously, so it's kind of mechayiv you truma g'dayla. Kshivish menu a love, and it's also talking about when you took up trumas ma'aser minei ubei, then you're potter with truma g'dayla. But if you took up the trumas ma'aser mimokam acher, another place. And but in that case doesn't apply. In that case, you still can be chayim in Truma G'dayla after you get to the chiyuv of Trumas Ma'aser. Which brings us to the top of Yud Amud Aleph. Stop here for today.